Well, hello there. My name's Clayton Waller, and I want to welcome you back to another Starbell Video Portal production. Today, I'm going to tell you about my very first time going to Shambhala. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I am 50 years old, and I have never been to Shambhala. So this year, a ticket landed in my lap. I decided I was going to go check it out. I've heard getting into Shambhala can be like an all day long experience. They've really streamlined how you get into the Shambhala grounds now, so it went a lot quicker. In fact, we were able to drive right up to the general admission where you kind of line up and pay for your parking and get your bracelet, little Shambhala bracelet. Yep. Okay, so you have to understand that a lot of the accommodations in Shambhala get sold out like right away, real fast. And when I got there, my options were to camp in Sunshine, which I had heard is not a good place to be, or free parking. Now, Sunshine was about, I don't know, 180, 200 bucks or something, but free parking was free. So I'm like, why not go free? So I got free parking. I was so excited. We're into Shambhala. We're past the general admission gate, and then we had to line up to have our car searched. And that did take a while. They had two bays going, and it's pretty intensive. They go through your entire vehicle, pull everything out, rifle through it, all your tents, all your nicely packed stuff. It's kind of like going over a border or something. And I guess they're looking for contraband. Certain kinds of contraband at Shambhala include alcohol. No alcohol at Shambhala, which kind of surprised me, but it ended up making it a really good vibe, to be honest. I've been to a lot of raves in the past where alcohol was present, and it's just a sort of feel, people drinking, getting drunk, dancing, getting into fights, getting upset about things. There was none of that at Shambhala. Nobody was drunk. Maybe a few people managed to smuggle in booze, but by and large, if you were drunk or drinking, you were a minority at Shambhala. And I found it refreshing. It was this massive festival, over 20,000 guests, maybe 30,000 people total, including support staff. And it was all really civil. So yeah, no drinking at Shambhala. They actually have this. You can get these 1,000 liter like plastic cubes, and they had two of them by the search when you go into Shambhala. And the first one was already 2/3 full of just witch's brew, right? If they find alcohol in your car, they just pour it in there. They don't even keep it for themselves. So if you're going to Shambhala, don't bring your liquor. Another thing they're looking for is like knives, pokey things, weapons. No weapons, no knives. And the one that surprised me a little bit was glass. No glass. I guess it's a pasture most of the time, and they don't want their livestock stepping on broken glass. And to be honest, when you've got 20,000 people on drugs, or not, probably on drugs though, you probably don't want a lot of glass around or broken shards of glass. So anyway, yeah, it did take about an hour to get through the search part because there was a lineup. There were 2 or 3 cars, maybe 4 cars ahead of us. I was so excited. We got through the checkpoint. All they took was I had a small glass container with water in it that I used to stub out my cigarettes. They're like, "We're sorry. We see why you have it. It's a really good idea, but no glass on the ground." So they confiscated that. Otherwise, it's good to go. I was very excited. We proceeded through all the signs and like not guards, but what do you call them? Ambassadors or the people that help you figure out what to do at Shambhala, like the staff. That's what they are. They guided us to free parking. And let me just say, if you go into free parking, if you park there, you're probably not leaving. So that's sunlight or sunshine. And if you want to park for free, you get free parking. And you're not leaving once you parked. Like, you're probably there for the duration. If you have a really small vehicle, you might be able to jiggle your way out, but pretty much you're packed in there like a sardine. And once we were parked, I was like, okay, where do I camp? Because there's no camping in the free parking area. There were some people who appeared to be camping, like just sleeping in their cars. Some people had like campers on their trucks and they slept in there. Some people had minivans and they're sleeping in there. I saw one guy pitch a tent, but he was the minority, and I guess you're not supposed to, but yeah, where to camp? So Rob, who's my friend who came with me, and I thankfully got a wagon. And if you go to Shambhala, here's a pro tip: get a wagon because you're going to be hauling things a long way. And if you're in free parking, you're basically way in this corner of the ranch, and where you're going to have to go is probably, I estimate maybe 2 kilometers. Like, I walked more during the 4 or 5 days I was at Shambhala than I had probably walked sum total the entire year prior. There's a lot of walking. Make sure you're fit. You're going to be doing a lot of walking, and have a wagon so that you can carry all your stuff. So we piled like a couple 100 pounds of tents and sleeping bags and camping gear into this little wagon, and we just set off to look for a camping spot. The dust is real. And it was kind of hot that day. I think it was, maybe 25, 30 degrees centigrade. It wasn't the hottest it's been lately, but it was hot enough. And we just trudged literally for 2 hours. And I was feeling pain because I wasn't really used to walking that much. And pulling a wagon loaded down at the same time in the heat on like dusty roads. Oh, the dust. The dust is real. If you go to Shambhala, you're going to eat some dust. Some people wear bandanas. Some people wear like the full masks. I wasn't into it. I'm a bit of a smoker. It's hard to smoke when you have a mask on. And I just like seeing people's faces and showing my face. So I didn't opt for the mask, although it was pretty gross. The dust is real. In that 2 hours, we trudged all the way through starlight, first sunshine. And it's true, you don't really want to camp there. It's basically a huge cow field where people just set up a sea of tents. And so we trudged through there, there was nothing. And then we started trudging up the back road. And it was my first time at Shambhala. I didn't know that I was kind of going the wrong way, but we're asking people, where can we camp? And everyone's like, oh, it's pretty full, but maybe Meta. People said maybe Meta a lot. And I'd never been there before. I didn't know what Meta was all about. Um, some of the people said, oh, but there's really big parties in Meta. And I'm like, like I was thinking meth parties, like people jacking your shit. Like I didn't really like the Meta advice. But we traveled almost all the way through the top of Starlight, and we still hadn't found anything, and it was just getting more and more densely packed. And I started to feel pressure on my hymen as I felt the pain of looking for a camping spot during my very first time at Shambhala. And I realized that I was getting my Shambhals cherry popped. Anyway, my companion Rob, he's from Saskatchewan, and he saw this Saskatchewan flag flying sort of in the Neptune lane part of Starlight. And he's like, "Hey, I'm from Saskatchewan. Maybe I can make friends with that guy, and maybe we can like camp near them." You're supposed to pay to be in Starlight, so I was skeptical, but he went down there and he managed to do it. I found this sweet spot where we could pitch 2 tents, and bam, after 2 hours, we had a Shambles miracle. And we found camping basically 5 or 10 minutes from the Sunflower Gate, right by all the food vendors. It was fantastic. You know, if I do go to Shambhala again, though, I probably will go to Meta. You have to walk a lot further, but the pros to Meta are that it's in the trees, so it's a bit cooler, right? You're not in the direct sun, and there's not as much dust. Yeah, but you'll be hauling your gear a lot further. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, that's the story about my first couple of hours at Shambhala. I would like to show you some of the scenes that I saw at Shambhala. I saw this amazing theme camp. What is it? The Sonic Starship. There's another video about that. It's about 2 minutes long. You can just watch just that if you like. Here's a short little clip of what it was about. It was kind of cool. I was disappointed that I didn't get to go in the Starship. I wanted to, but every time I went by, it was occupied. And one time they were taking on passengers, but I had a bunch of stuff in my arms that I didn't want to drop down and go into a deep trance and have disappear on me. So I turned down that opportunity, and then they tore down soon after that because that was the last day. So I never got to go in the Starship, and that is probably my biggest regret. Saw this guy making sandcastles. He was an amazing sandcastle maker, artist. I think this is his Instagram or something. Feel free to check him out. Really cool castle maker. There's all kinds of weird and trippy art around Shambhala. There's always something to see. If you don't like what's going on, just walk 5 minutes and you'll find a totally different vibe. It's really quite a magical place. And most of the people, well, I don't even know if it was most of them, but a lot of people hung out at the river. Just so many people. Some of them are floating down the river on floaties. Some of them are just hanging out on the beach. Yeah, it was a really fun party vibe down there. Now at Shambhala, there are at least 5 stages, 5 main stages. And at night is when they really shine. The light shows were fantastic. Believe it or not, I did Shambhala straight edge. I smoked a bit of marijuana and chain smoked cigarettes, but I didn't do any other drugs beyond that. I found it purifying because I was unable to drink and didn't do any other drugs. I kind of felt like I was an observer of sorts, just watching all this crazy madness occur. I suppose, that's part of the price one pays if you want to film. You kind of need to keep your head straight or you don't do a good job. The music was so good. I would argue that the amp, maybe. Had the best music, but that's not even true. Like my second, maybe my favorite stage was what's it called? The pagoda. And you can see it here in the daylight. It's all white, perfectly white. But at nighttime, they were able to do some amazing light shows on this white backdrop. Sometimes it even looked like the pagoda was melting. And even though I was not on any drug whatsoever, it just kind of felt like I was. Really fantastic light shows, really awesome music, really good vibe. And I'm going to tell you that even though I was skeptical about going to Shambhala at this stage of my life and was worried about the dust and didn't really like all the walking I had to do, I had a really good time. And honestly, I've not had a drink ever since. I think it's been a week now, and I just sort of quit drinking. And I feel much healthier than I have in years. So there's that. Maybe I'll drink again, but not right now. Kind of enjoying the being sober trip, to be honest. It's so loud though. I had really good earplugs, and that's essential. You should have good earplugs. Those standard foamy ones ain't gonna cut it. And I put the gold insert into them, which is the highest attenuation. I'd go out even close to these stages, and you can just feel the bass moving right through your body. It was incredible. The first time I went out to one of the stages without my earplugs, and I could basically feel damage happening to my hearing. So I put them in right away, and it made all the difference. So if you're going to Shambhala, definitely have good, high quality earplugs. And since that party runs until about 5 in the morning, I actually slept with them in because can't party quite as hard as the young uns anymore, and I was often going to bed around, midnight, 1 in the morning. But that party keeps going till about 5. So if you want to get any sleep whatsoever, you have to sleep with your earplugs in, unless you like sleeping to loud music. But it really carries, especially that bass. So even though there's like a headliner at the main stage of each of these venues, if you like explore the nooks and crannies in each of these rooms or stages, you'll find other stuff like there were shops where you could buy merch for whoever was playing. There were like hammocks, weird art galleries. There were even some little shacks or little houses or rooms that you could go into, and there'd be like another DJ just in this little house doing like mixing just for 20 people or something. So it was really quite interesting, and the amount of music variation was fantastic. And if you didn't like what you were hearing, just go for a walk. You're going to find something that you loved. Absolutely. Would I go to Shambhala again? I really don't know. It's kind of expensive. Your ticket is just the start of how expensive it is. Next, you're going to have to get some camping gear. Maybe you're going to pay for pre-arranged camping within Shambhala. That's an additional add-on. If you're going to buy food from the food trucks, the food was actually really, really good. And I was worried that the food would be terrible, that it would give me bad heartburn and diarrhea, but actually it was like really healthy, really nourishing, really wholesome food. You could get junk food if you wanted like poutine or burgers, but there were also like salad wraps and like Tamil Kitchen was there, so authentic Indian cuisine. Some of the vendors were on the more expensive side and some of them were on the more affordable side. But I would say on average, you're looking at about $30 a meal if you're tipper. If you're a cheapskate, maybe you could do it for $22. But that's not bad, really, if you consider that you didn't have to bring in a camp stove and a mess kit and a bunch of food and then take the time to prepare it. I actually thought that was reasonable for festival food, especially considering it tasted so good. There were also lots of vendor shops. I got this sweet shirt at one of them. It's linen. I love it. And I got these sweet red shades, which I've wanted my whole life. I finally found them at shops. Yeah, lots of cool clothing, hats. I don't wear hats because I'm blessed with these luscious locks. Jewelry, beautiful flowing dresses, wall hangings like this one behind me. Beautiful wall hangings. Lots of art prints. Yeah, the vendors are fantastic. So if you're going to go to Shambhala, bring money. And some of them take cash and a lot of them take card now. So I used a mixture of cash and card. think I paid 600 for my entry fee, and I probably spent 1200 while I was there, just on clothing and food. Maybe not that bad. Maybe I spent 600. That's more like it, because I didn't have to pay for camping. I did the free parking. But yeah, it's a bit expensive, and your admission fee ticket is just the start of the money you'll be spending. So be aware of that. I want to say something about Meta. Now, I'm going to show you just the tip of Meta, but I'm not going to go all the way in, out of respect for the people that I found there. Quite honestly, I found a lot of the people in Sunshine and Starlight were people with big trucks and Winnebagos and campers, often from the city. There were a few locals, but it just had a certain vibe, and it was cool. It was cool, but when I went into Meta, finally explored it on my last day there, I think I found what Shambhala used to be about. You know, the old school hippies, just keeping it real. Yeah, Meta's special. And if I go to Shambhala again, I'll probably camp in Meta, even though it's a much further walk. And I'm not going to show you how the internals of Meta were, because I just didn't feel like filming those people. They're free spirits, and I didn't want to put them on camera. So if you want to see Meta, you're going to have to go there and experience it for yourself. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video about my goofy Shambhala experience. Please feel free to like the video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.